I'll speak about how Rena's developed her language, reflect on her spatial poetry, her use of light, form, flow, and function. Just see. The projects will be the basis of this talk. There will be four: the austere gate and canopy, which you've seen before, Agama, of course, everybody will talk about this, and two competition projects, one that you've just seen, Marina Galleria, and also a new one, which is new headquarters in Athens. In Rena's work, I think we can see the exploration of architecture which has appreciating material and cultural value. This is the essence of great architecture. We know that it has to be functional, it has to have sound construction, it is adaptable, a critical criterion for a future, more sustainable world. But design that emotionally engages is my main topic, and that is the hardest ingredient to include in a work of great architecture. Emotional engagement engages in itself with the idea of enduring beauty, a beauty that is of its time, and as a result of that, it gains cultural and material value over time. So it can be positioned always, but it appreciates in its value. I came across the austere gate as a guest of the austere hotel. I had no idea who the architects were, but this drawing, which I've subsequently discovered, embodies the idea of the architecture. It is a prosaic brief, a security gate for motor cars, but you can see in this an iconic, engaging drawing about something else. And that something else is about sculpting light, about creating form, creating engagement, which then proceeded to the entry point for the hotel, the new entry canopy. And this concept sketch describes a fluid movement, an embrace, which when seen in spatial terms, with the vertical proportions of the columns and their arrangement beyond structure to communicate movement and to articulate the entry points, and the idea of flow and the idea of moving forward and back in and out of the space was very memorable. I had no idea about who the architects were, but it certainly made me look very enjoyably at the experience ahead. So it was a great, great introduction to the work. But this concept sketch for Agama says a lot for me about the way Rena has developed her language. It's dynamic, it's dematerialized the form, it's flowing, it's spiraling, it's a spatial experience conveyed in this quick sketch, but it embodies the essence of the architecture. But also this plan, which is, I say three-dimensional. Look carefully and you see the layers projecting towards you. Every plan is embodied in the one plan, and it describes the intent of the Agama scheme. When developed, you can see from these diagrams how the core, the light well, or the conical-shaped light source, organizes circulation, and how we can see the interplay between form and water, and also with these circulation systems. Because Agama, for me, is very much an object in the round. It's not entirely a civic quality. It doesn't have this sort of quality of being part of the city. It becomes an extraordinary embodiment of sculpture in space. And its dynamic urban presence makes it something special to engage with. Every plan is distinctive. Every person working in every space sees beyond, below and above to parts of the building, and the landscape is an integral part of the interior experience, which you can see in these two sections, where the form steps and the conical shape of the light will conveys the organization of the building design. And the building is iconic because of its integration with landscape and water. Here you see the reflections amplifying the flowing forms, but also importantly, the landscape and the water contributes to lowering urban heat island impacts. So this is, of course, the science behind the poetry. Light guides everything. It guides wayfinding, allows you to understand where to arrive and where to go. But above all else, you can see the ground plane and then the first floor integrated with the ground plane, and then the sculpture above, poetic, powerful, creates its identity. And this is how the enduring value is created through the architecture. Marina Galleria is a very different project, and in some respects challenges some of the theoretical work we've just heard about, because for me it's more about a place than a building. And this sketch expands the nature of the plan beyond. It doesn't seem to terminate. It doesn't seem to be clear as an iconic expression of the building. And we can see as the sketches evolve, the idea of these elliptical courtyard spaces connected with green fingers, if you look at the bottom left-hand drawing, which take you from the water's edge at the bottom to the road system, the parking, and then if you move left and right across the building, you connect the circulation to these particular moments, each one distinctive as they evolved, which you can see here in the plan, where landscape and place seems more important than the emblem of the building, the icon of the building. Also at the upper level, the voids become the experience, where you can again understand the ground plane and most importantly understand the sky, because this is a building not about a building, it's about a canopy of trees becoming a canopy as a roof, where the objects within the canopies become the building elements. So this is a dematerialized spatial experience, and where each destination is an individual item within the canopy of roof and trees. And you can see the integration of space, light, roof form, and object, or you can see how the interpenetrating planes create the zones between sky and earth. But again, the elements are within this idea of space and place. At the same time, it creates a memorable experience at the waterfront, a presence which announces the canopy, but also creates the buildings within the spaces. The last project is this headquarter building, this complex office building, and in this drawing, again, a very powerful idea where the green and the form are intertwined in a shape which evolves, where you can start to see where the core and structure of the building is going to evolve. But these concept sketches begin to again articulate an urban dimension, the ground plane and the podium element, and then this lyrical floating spatial experience above, and where the indoor amenity is as important as the experience of the form from the outside, which again you can start to see, again the bottom and the two wings around these courtyards which imply landscape. And the plan evolves very well from an urban point of view. Two major urban improvements are a through-site link with good uses and also publicly accessible amenities such as a theatre and other experiences. And the idea of well-being is embodied in the plan. So this is not just about poetry, but it's about living experiences. And so here the gymnasiums and the courtyards all integrate. And again, from an office interior environment point of view, landscape is everywhere. You look down, you can go down to it, and you're always close to light sources filtered by screens. As the building steps up, you can see more and more landscape. And the section shows you this embrace of landscape and the integration of the urban conditions on the left and right, where you see the peristyle and the experience of work, a work environment and wellness. And here the building indicates its landscape form connecting to the park to the south and shielding the urban experience with the louvers and also the peristyle, which is the urban condition that creates the building's presence on the street. And the courtyard is a workplace, and the building has this idea of the peristyle and the canopy, which comes from the Greek heritage, the classical orders of Greece. There's a vitality and urbanity which you don't see anywhere else in this neighbourhood, but you see it through this building. And you also see this idea of the podium resolving the functional requirements and creating the floating workplace environment above. And to end my little presentation is this idea of how the architecture of Sakellaridou derives from the unique Greek experience of architecture, that although it is flowing and moving, it's not static and proportional and ancient. It reflects today, it is of today, but also will endure into tomorrow. Thank you.